Hi Ravi, I have a question about workflow best practices in Jira. Could you please recommend the ideal number of statuses for defect management? Thank you.
So, Jasvinder here is asking about ideal number of statuses in your defect management, bug management process or workflow. Now, in Jira, you should not really have too many statuses for any workflow, to be honest. I think the official recommendation from Atlassian, I think it used to be 7 statuses, but I think there is no rule here, right? You can have 10 statuses, to be honest, if you need to. Now, what I will do today is I will walk you through one workflow for defect management. And again, whenever it comes to workflows in Jira, there is no right or wrong way of doing things. You can have a workflow with too many states, too many transitions. And when I say too many, I'm not really saying that add 50 states. But the thing is that don't hesitate. Don't limit yourself. If you need to create a process and to create that process, you need to have maybe 12 statuses, go for it. So what I will do is I will just explain a simple workflow for defect management, and hopefully you will get some ideas. And again, try not to follow this. Try not to copy this. I mean, feel free to. I think it will work for you, but use the discussions that you might had with your team members, and based on their feedback, based on an agreement with other stakeholders, try to come up with your own process, right? So I'll just walk you through this workflow for defect management, a typical defect management that you can do in Jira. Now, whenever you raise a new bug in Jira, of course, you need to have a separate issue type. Bug is there for you anyway, so use bug. You may want to create a defect, but I think bug works with a red icon because it looks good. It is like very clear that yes, it is a bug. So whenever you raise a new bug, it can go to a state called open, right? It could be open, it could be to do, depending upon how you want to configure your backlog. But open or to do is like a very common state. Then the very first thing that you need to do whenever there is a bug, you may want to do some initial acknowledgement or triaging. And when you do the initial acknowledgement, you're not really saying that this is indeed a bug. Maybe you want to reject the bug, maybe you want to cancel the bug, maybe you want to mark the bug as closed. So you can then decide after you acknowledge what to do with the bug. And as you can see, I have 2 states here, closed and cancelled. But these 2 states, for example, when you close from open, you can actually create a transition called duplicate, right? Maybe it is a duplicate bug. And when you click on duplicate transition, it will be closed, but you may want to update the resolution as well automatically, right? Now you can do this from the open state, but ideally you should do it from the acknowledged state, so that you know that someone is doing some initial triaging. Similarly for the cancelled one as well, maybe you want to do it from acknowledged. Now again, the acknowledged word here might be a bit misleading. I mean, for the status, you can use triage. I think triage will also work. But again, it has to be clear that acknowledging a bug here means that someone is doing the initial assessment. Maybe you can use the word assessment for your status. The whole idea here is that someone will review what to do with the bug. Now, after you acknowledge that, okay, you're basically acknowledging that, okay, we have received your bug, then we'll do something about it. You can cancel it, you can mark it as duplicate. And when you are trying to create a workflow, find a balance. Don't really try to create a workflow that will have states for each and everything that you're doing. You can then have one more state here in between called accepted, or indicate to the user that yes, we know it is a bug, and we have acknowledged. We have also we were also able to replicate. So you can have a state in between, but I think the moment you start, or if you want to just say that, okay, we are ready to do something about it, you can then start the progress. So maybe there could be a way here by adding a status which will work, but you will then end up with too many states if you do that. So here, the moment you start the progress, in a way you're saying that yes, we are starting the progress. And again, I'm just saying that in this case, I want to keep although I'm trying to have a separate workflow for bugs, but at the same time I'm trying not to overcomplicate it, right? And it also depends on how your company works, how seriously you take your defects. Maybe your defects are, important, but you're not too bothered about reporting on each and every stage of your defect management process. So when you start the work on the defects, then of course, you will, you will ask your developers to fix the bug, and then they will commit the code in code repository. And again, here you can do few things by linking it to your Bitbucket or GitHub. Basically, when you create a new branch, you can, in a way, transition, or the moment you have the moment you create a branch, the moment you do something in your code repository, you can transition the issues automatically. So there is something called as trigger, which you can take a look at. I think I've covered many times in my videos. So when you are done with your work, when you have committed your code, maybe the moment you create a pull request, and again, if you want to do that automation, you can automatically move the issue or the bug to in review, or you can just manually move it to in review. So when the bug is moved to in review, maybe if in your company you have a process where someone will be reviewing it, and then then you will proceed further. Now, after in review, you can move the bug to UAT, and UAT means that yes, you are doing UAT. Now this is actually a bit complicated. It can get complicated because you are not only going to do UAT for just one bug, right? Right? Maybe you can. Usually UAT is done as a whole for maybe an epic. So this is again for you to decide. Maybe you want to do UAT or some kind of user acceptance testing for just one bug, or maybe a set of bugs, or maybe you want to do it for your sprint. Up to you, right? Now, you can have a stage called UAT, and when the UAT, and again, we are doing a simple test management here. We are not really using automated test cases. You can, by the way, but right now we are doing very, very simple stuff in Jira. Now, the output of the UAT could be, it will be failed, and then you may want to reopen it, or maybe when the UAT is passed, you can have a transition. Right now I'm using this word called resolve, but maybe I think a better word would be to say UAT pass. UAT passed. And whenever you're doing transitions, always have like screens in between. Not always, but in most cases, so that you can capture comments, or maybe you can ask the user to reassign it to someone else, right? Or capture some other field that you want to populate. Now, once the UAT is passed, then you may want to, say that, okay, this bug is now ready for go live. And again, you can do that at the bug level, and you can do these things at the epic level. But whenever it comes to bug management in Jira, defect management in Jira, and also in general, try to always have like a closure state where whenever you're reporting on those issues, you can see that, okay, I have 100 issues, they're all closed, but based on the resolution, you can identify if those issues were indeed fixed, closed, duplicate, or they were cancelled or rejected. So have a resolution field always, because Jira fundamentally relies on a resolution field to say that this work or this issue was indeed resolved, right? It is basically the outcome of your issues life cycle. So this example of defect management, again, this is not really a perfect workflow, but if you're trying to do something for your own team, for your own company, uh, discuss internally. And great thing about Jira is that even if you start with something which is not perfect, it will never be perfect, but it is like a continuous process. You can always modify it. The thing is that whenever you are trying to use Jira, sometimes when I work with stakeholders, when I work with my clients, they spend months to just agree on the workflow or configurations. I think you should definitely have some initial discussion, but try not to overdo it. I think a great thing about Jira is, and Jira actually became popular because it is even now a very flexible tool. It is a configurable tool. It is something that you can customize based on your own requirements, but don't spend too much time. Try not to make Jira perfect. Jira is a tool for you and your teams to deliver. So start with something that you think should work, and if you think something makes sense, go ahead, maybe use this workflow, and then later on, if you think it is not making sense, modify it, right? So I hope in this video you have learned something about a typical Jira's defect management. It had nothing to do with Jira, to be honest, but a typical bug management, defect management workflow or a process. So I hope, Jesse, I have answered your question, and thanks a lot for this great question. All right, thank you very much. Bye bye.